I'm Atalanta, and this is Soul Connection. Soul Connection is a series dedicated to teaching you how to tap into and connect to your soul on a deeper level. We will be exploring spirit versus soul, mass meditation, chakra energy, vibration, and connecting to all. We will learn how to tap into our soul and figure out what our purpose is on this earth in this lifetime.
Another way to connect to your higher self is through divination. Most people think about divination as getting in touch with spirits, people who have passed, ancestors, spirit guides. But divination can also be used to connect to your higher self. This is a perfect way to learn how to tap into that energy that connects us to our soul. If you watched one of my previous episodes on intuition versus intellect, you would have heard that connecting to your soul is how you are able to make decisions, important decisions and choices in your life. Super easy way to do that would be through using a pendulum. Now, you can use any form of divination. You can use tarot cards, you can use oracle, but I found that when you're first learning how to divine with your higher self, that a pendulum is the easiest way to do it.
Here is a basic way to use a pendulum. Now I have two here, and you will notice that they are rather long. An average pendulum, I would say, is around 7 to 8 inches, maybe 7.5 inches. I like my pendulums long because I don't hold them by the tip, and I will show you how to do that in a minute. I wrap mine around my finger. This one in particular is a healing pendulum, so it has the chakra stones on it. This is the one that I use for when I do Reiki, and this one right here is a bone pendulum that I made. It's got crow's bones, camel bone, hand carved, and beads and such. And I usually hold it from about right here because I wrap it around my finger. But there's no wrong way to hold a pendulum. Some people prefer to hold it and pretend like this is shorter from the very tip and hold it up, right? And then, of course, some of us prefer to loop it over our finger. Now, you can even wrap it around and loop it. I like to kind of hold it, depending on which one I'm using. I like to hold it, just kind of looped over like so. Okay? So, like I said before, a pendulum can be used to contact spirits and get ancestors, spirits from other realms. Of course, using your higher self to do so, but a pendulum can be used to actually get information from spirits, but you can use it just solely to speak to your higher self. And this is one of the easiest ways to learn how to communicate with your higher self and in turn communicate with your soul. The first thing that you want to do is you want to be sure that wherever you get your pendulum, even if you make it yourself, that all the, if you cleaned all the items prior to actually putting it together, that's fine. But you want to make sure to clean it, to cleanse it. There's different ways to do that, just like with any other divination tool or magical tool that you might use. You can sprinkle salt on it. Sometimes salt, can mess up like the chain, or it can mess up if you have certain crystals, things like that. But I mean, everybody's preference is different. Another way is you can put it in a freezer for a short period of time. A great way to keep your divination tools like cleaned all the time is to take a little piece of selenite and just keep it in the same pouch or area with your pendulum. And in that way, it's just automatically cleansed all the time. You still want to charge it under a full moon, or even under the sun. I keep my pendulums on different altars. This one in particular is my usual one, so I keep it on my ancestor altar because I work a lot with the ancestors. This one I keep on my healing altar because that's what it's for. It's got the chakras on it, and it is for healing. So just depending, it's good to keep them on your altar, but when, as with any divination tool or even magical tool, in the beginning, you want to connect and really get to know your pendulum. And so you might want to sleep with it under your pillow, carry it in your pocket or your bra or your purse, or, I guess it could fit in a wallet, but that might damage it. But yeah, just kind of keep it with you and bond with it. And don't get frustrated if your pendulum does not work for you right away. Okay, so you've cleaned it, you've blessed it, however traditionally you would like to bless it. It's now become your own. With mine, like I said, I loop it over my finger. You can hold them, and there's no wrong way. This is just a way that I teach. It's a simple way of doing it. So we're not going to actually do an actual connection. So I'm just going to kind of move it back and forth and show you how it should go. When holding it, you either hold it, from the tips, or you hold it over your finger. Okay, I like to hold mine over my finger. The first thing you're going to do is get it to stay still. Okay, let's see if I can do this with the camera. So you want it to stay still, okay? And when you get it to where it's at like a still point, then you're going to ask your pendulum to give you a definite sign of yes. Now, these are in general, so remember, as long as it's giving you a definite sign of what it means when you're saying yes, then go with that. But in general, usually when you have a yes sign, it'll go front and back. Okay? Front and back. Like you're shaking your head up and down. And then you will ask for it to give you a clear sign of no. So usually it'll go back and forth, right? Like you're shaking your head back and forth. Okay? In between each time that you're asking for that clear sign of yes and clear sign of no, you want to get it back still. You always thank the pendulum, right? Thank you. Now, please, you may be still. Give me, just give me a regular sign, and it'll get back still again. Now, please give me a clear sign of no, and then, of course, it'll go back and forth. The other very popular way that it works for yes and no's is when you say, get it still again, right? Please give me a clear sign of yes. It'll go clockwise. Okay, it'll go clockwise. And then please get it still again. Please give me a clear sign of no. It'll go counterclockwise. Okay, if at any given point when you're asking your questions, it starts going all over the place, that means that it's all over the place. It's not giving you a clear sign of yes or no. It is either needing more information, or maybe you just need to be like a little clear. Maybe your question was vague. Sometimes it wants more information, more details. Sometimes the question's vague and you've got to clarify. Sometimes it takes a few times, but the important thing is that when you're using this, you are clearly thinking of your higher self. Okay. And the way I visualize that is kind of like right above my crown chakra. I just kind of visualize, okay, this is where I'm communicating, because you don't want spirits to come in and influence your reading, because this is 100% communicating to your soul. Okay. So that's a very simple way to use it. So remember, the first thing you do obviously is clean it. You're going to bless it. You're going to carry it and bond it, bond with you. I would also, prior to doing any kind of work with my pendulum, I would do a prayer or a spell, or however you want to word it, in connecting to your higher self, and specifically saying, This reading is me connecting to my higher self. I ask for, my soul to connect and give me information that I'm asking for, and start off with very simple things, just very simple questions, and get to know it and get familiar with your pendulum. Remember to have it stable and have it still first, right? You can put your hand under it. A lot of people do that, and that kind of helps to stabilize it, but it also helps to give it like direction as to where it needs to stay. And then when, give me a clear sign of yes, please. And I always use manners, please and thank you. And then give me, okay, thank you, thank you. And then it'll go still again. Give me a clear sign of no, please. And then it'll go back and forth. Okay, thank you. And then it should go to the middle. But remember, it may go clockwise for yes and counterclockwise for no. Every once in a while, you may get a clockwise for yes and a back and forth for no. That's possible. The important thing is to ask it those questions before you do the divination, and that way you have a clear understanding of what your pendulum is saying to you. Okay, when you are done with your reading, then of course thank the pendulum, thank your higher self, thank your soul for communicating with you, and that's it. I wanted to go ahead and show you that you can use a spirit board when still just communicating with your higher self. Most of the time, these boards are used for communicating with the pendulum to spirits. However, as you get more advanced in direct connection to your soul, you can use it to spell out words with the letters, and also, of course, give you numbers and dates and things like that. So the main thing is to remember that when you, prior to your reading, prior to your divination, you want to do that prayer to your higher self and to your soul, and talk to the pendulum and tell it that this is just communication between you and your higher self, that we won't be doing spirit communication, especially if you have a spirit board. You want to make that very clear. And those of us that do use it for both, it's extremely important that we do that. So you do start off the same, with your prayer, and then of course you stabilize it. You get it to, so where it's still, and then you will say again, please give me a clear sign of yes. And with mine, I have it marked, yes and no, and then thank you, please give me a clear sign of no, boom boom boom, thank you. And remember, it could do clockwise and counterclockwise, but once you get that established, I would start with simple questions of yes and no, and then move on to details. For example, should I go on vacation? Let's say it says yes. Should I go on vacation on the 14th of March? Okay, let's say it says yes. Well, where should I go? Now, this is where it gets interesting, because then it will start spelling out different letters, okay? And that is when you are fully in touch with your higher self and literally speaking directly to your soul. So that's actually an amazing thing to do. Personally, I don't practice this. I use my spirit board for connecting with spirits, but this is a technique that if you perfect it, you can go so far with it. And it's something that I do practice, but I don't normally use it. Okay. I just kind of wanted to show you though, if you have a spirit board, it is possible to use it with your pendulum. And, it just takes more practice with it and really working with your craft. But yes, mastering this is an amazing way to communicate.
Things to remember when you are working with a pendulum. First, you do not have to have the most expensive, fancy pendulum out there. You can actually create one by putting an object on a string. Next, carry it with you everywhere. Put it in your bra, your pocket, your purse, but keep it with you. Sleep with it under your pillow to form that connection. Clear your mind of everything and just let the energy flow from your higher self through your crown chakra into the pendulum. Most of all, remember that it takes time. It takes time to relax. It takes time to clear your mind of everything. And it takes time to connect with your pendulum. If it does not work for you right away, don't give up. Use it on a daily basis and you will get results.
The next form of divination that's simple, that is a great way to get yes and no answers, is through the bones. Now, in bone divination, it is used to work with the ancestors. My personal belief is that, and practice, is that I only use my bones when working with the ancestors. But you can do yes and no's in using the cowrie shells, which is what we use in bone divination for yes and no's. The key is I would not use the same cowrie shells for my bone collection when working with ancestors as the ones that I am using just specifically for my higher self. In my practice, I use 4 cowrie shells, but when working with, when beginner bone throwers use 2, and when working with your higher self, really 2 is all you need. So it works the same way like the pendulum. You're going to want to clean them, pray with them, carry them with you, form that bond. And the way they work is just with simple yes or no questions. For example, are my eyes blue? And then you would shake them as you're asking the question. You blow on them, because in bone throwing, breath is very sacred. So then you would blow on them and then you would throw them. Okay, and of course this is a mock one. But if you have 2 cowrie shells that show up with this side up, which is the face side, that would be an answer of yes. If you asked the question and they showed up with the back side up, okay, face side down, that would be a no. If you had it show one of each, the yes and the no, that means we need to clarify and reword the question. Now, the difference between bone throwing and working with your higher self is when you're throwing bones, and if this happens 3 times, that means the ancestors do not want to respond at the moment. However, when working with your higher self, it's different, because your higher self always wants to answer. Your soul always wants to communicate. So when you get the yes and no response, okay, that negates each other out, you are going to want to give more detail. You may even have to do a short meditation and connect with yourself a little bit more. But however you need to do it, if it keeps coming up multiple times, then maybe at that moment you are having some kind of confusion. But usually after a couple of throws, you will get your final answer when working with your higher self. If this should happen, it's just you need more information. So this is just another quick way that you can communicate with your soul through divination.
The goal is to learn to divine when asking questions of your higher self and connecting to your soul. The goal is to be able to do it, without tools. Now, there's nothing wrong with tools. I use tools. A lot of people do. But wouldn't it be fantastic if you were able to just, put yourself into that space and know that what you are doing is the right decision? A way for you to move forward and learn to do this, a practice to start doing now. So as you evolve in your divination, this will become an automatic thing for you. is to learn what it feels like when you get that little hit. Now, we've all had it before. We've all had that little hit of intuition. And remember, there's intuition and there's intellect. Intellect being um, outside forces, outside influences, like even whenever a person is talking to you and you first meet them, your intuition is when you first get there, but when they start talking and you're listening and you're looking at them, and then you start having memories of, well, this has happened and this has happened in my past or my experiences, my friends are talking to me. Those are all outside influences. So the goal is to get where you are meeting somebody or you are making a decision and you know instantly what that is. And that's divination. And that's communicating with your higher self with divination. So here's an exercise that I have learned and one that I am practicing with my own personal life. And what you do is you sit back, okay, and you calm your space. And if you need to close your eyes, close your eyes. Now, envision a decision that you have made that was the absolute correct decision. And how do you feel? Okay. And now, prior to this, you might want to go ahead and do your collecting in the frame, calming yourself, your body, relax everything, separate from the outside world, separate. So you're just by yourself. And now think of a decision that you have made that was exactly on point. And think of how you feel or how you felt at the time that you made the decision. How did you feel after that decision was made? Now pay attention to even the littlest things. How did your body react? What made you make that decision? What was that feeling inside of you? Okay. Now, when you have, and this takes a few minutes, but for time's sake, we're obviously not going to do the whole thing right now, but take a moment and really feel that feeling. How did your body feel? How were your muscles? Were you relaxed? Were you excited? Were you tense? Were you, were you racing thoughts? Were you calm thoughts? Think of all these different things, but what you want to pinpoint is how your body was reacting. Okay. Um, to that decision, and when you realized, oh yes, and how you knew it was the right decision, you just knew in your heart 100%. That's what you want to get in touch with. That's what you want to think about and remember. Okay. And then you will do the same thing and you will calm your space in your body. And I don't want to go into this fully, because it does take a few minutes, but I want you to do the opposite. When you made a decision that you kind of knew about this, how was your body responding? Sit back, do the same exact thing, but think about that. How was your body responding? What were the different responses throughout your mind, your heart? Um, did you actually have like muscle twitches? Did you, think about all those things, okay? And get fully into that space. When you have completed that and you have done both exercises, then I want you to do something simple. Okay. What am I going to eat tonight? I'm going to eat pizza, just something simple. And I want you to get into the same headspace, separate yourself, right? Separate yourself in same headspace. And I've got to make a decision on what I'm going to eat tonight and put that decision into your head. And your very first response, how is your body responding? You know, are you getting the twitches? Are you getting the, yeah, that's a good idea? Give yourself, say, two choices and See if either of them, and make this easy. Okay. Make this an easy decision because this is an exercise. And, let's just say, for example, I am not supposed to have gluten. So obviously pizza would be the wrong idea. Oh, well, what if I had gluten enzyme pills and I could digest it? No, pizza's still the wrong idea. But how does my body responding to that? Now, what about let's just throw salad. Okay. Chicken salad. Okay. So how is my body responding to that? So which is the obvious decision? How am I feeling? What are my internal feelings? Okay. And that's what you want to focus on. And you want to continue this practice and then start using it in small decisions in your life and see where it takes you. Now, this is not something you do overnight. This is something that I have only been practicing for a very short while. And, you know, um, and it's not an overnight thing. It's going to take a while. So be easy on yourself. But that is the goal while you're divining with your higher self. And remember, there is a difference between divining with your higher self and divining with spirit. Okay, totally different. Yes, you use your higher self to connect with spirit in order to get information. But with this, we are strictly going on our soul connection with divination. So make sure you do keep the two separate. Okay. This is specifically for contacting your higher self and moving forward. And remember, this is the goal. So when you are practicing the other forms of divination, do not forget to throw these exercises in. The ultimate goal is to be able to recognize that communication immediately when making a decision or making a choice or wanting to move forward with something or having an idea. Well, should I do this idea? That's our goal. I hope that helps. This brings us to the end of this episode of Soul Connection. I want to thank all of you for joining me tonight. And I hope that by me showing you my ways of connecting to my higher self, that you can connect to yours as well, and therefore speak to your soul. Blessed be.